Welcome to My Why, a series of personal stories that share the history and impact of YPN, the premier provider of prenatal and parenting programs in East Central Iowa. We support, educate, and empower families since 1985. Join us in our mission and learn the why YPN for so many in our community.
All right, thanks for joining us today at our YPN podcast. Super excited. We have somebody who is very, very special to not only YPN, but to me as well. We have Chelsey Steckly, who is a program supervisor for YPN, joining us today. It's somebody who I've gotten to know very well, and I know she doesn't like talking about herself, but settle down a little bit, Chelsey, okay? Is that okay?
Yes, thank you for having me today.
You bet. So she's really done a great job of just transforming the culture at YPN too. So I give her a lot of credit for that. Not only that, but she's just a great person. So Chelsey, we want the community to kind of know who you are. Can you just share a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I was born and raised here in Iowa, and so I've been here my whole life. I've gotten some different experiences traveling outside of Iowa, but this is my home, that's for sure. I have a couple of kiddos and a husband here, and we live outside of the Williamsburg area. I've always kind of lived in rural areas, and so it's very different to work in a bigger city, but I'll talk a little bit more about that later. I got my bachelor's degree in communication studies at Iowa State, and then I am actually pursuing my master's degree right now. Which
is great, right? Because you're going to continue that impact as well as you get that and maybe go on to get your doctorate someday.
We'll see.
And we'll see, right? Okay, so one of the things that people may not know is what you do on a daily basis. So if you could give, us just a little bit of a sense of what a day in the life of Chelsey looks like, how would you answer that?
Yeah, so I think my role is the best role at YPN because really I get to do something I love, but also help others do what they love. And so as a supervisor, of course, I have to do my supervisor tasks, but I still get to be with families, and that's what I'm passionate about. So no day is going to look the same, honestly. Some days, I'm doing reports to make sure that we are on track for, our number of home visits that we do, making sure that our curriculum's up to date, all the information we're giving to families is up to date, getting resources for families, for our parent educators. But I think the best days for me is getting to be down in like our We Care shop or having our group nights where I actually get to be with the families and make an impact on them. And so those are my best days. Every day looks different, but those are the best days for us. And I think everybody would say that probably at YPN.
Yeah, that's right. And you do such a great job too of connecting with people at a deep level. I think that's one of your strengths as well too. Tell us, a little bit more about YPN as you kind of see it. What strikes you about YPN?
Yeah, I've mentioned this to a lot of people, and personally, I just feel YPN is like a safe place for many people. I think that our participants, our staff, leadership, everybody comes here because it's a safe place. And whether you want support or you are needing resources, you know that you can come to YPN and you're going to get it. Everyone's genuine. Everybody is so positive, even in those really hard times. And I think that's why we have such a huge client base, because people know that and they feel comfortable coming to us.
Yeah, it's all about that personal touch that we have, right? We never want to get away from that. And again, you do a fantastic job of that as well. So here's one, because one of the things that that's very important is the participants that we serve are actually they're the why. They're essentially why we do what we do. How do the families at YPN really inspire you on a daily basis?
Well, personally, as I mentioned, I've grown up here in Iowa. I had a middle-class family growing up. I feel I lived a pretty privileged life, as a child. And, I was able to get to my education. I was able to do all the things that I really wanted to do without a lot of barriers. And I think that has inspired me the most is that our participants are resilient. And that says a lot because they have so many barriers that they've faced, whether it's generational trauma or, COVID, those different things. But to see that they have overcome those and they are so resilient, it inspires me to overcome some of those smaller situations that I've went through. It's nothing compared to what some of these clients have went through, some of our staff have went through. I mean, really, the whole population here in Iowa and in the U.S., we went through a lot of things, but really it's so cool to see how resilient these people are.
Love that word that you used, resilience. So as you talk about those experiences, has there been one experience or maybe a couple that have really profoundly stuck with you or impacted you?
Yes. I love this question because as you know, many families were affected by war in Afghanistan. Cedar Rapids was one of the cities that was able to take in many of those families who were fleeing the war.
Right.
I think this is something I'm very passionate about because these families came here after not only experiencing war, but leaving their own home and came here and built something new, completely new than what they had before. There's culture shock and learning a new language, getting jobs here that are not the same as what they had in Afghanistan. And, just to see again how resilient they were and the changes that they've made to really I wouldn't want to say fit in, but to make sure that they can make this place a home is incredible. And they truly inspire me every day. It's nothing that I've ever had to go through.
Yeah.
And so to see how happy they are now and how how safe they feel is so incredible.
It is. It's something that's profoundly impacted me too, just seeing that transition and everything that they have seen and gone through and how they're able to really thrive. And certainly there's still a lot that we can continue to do to help, but that's one of the great things about, I think, our organization is that we really, try to do that as well. What do you think some of the barriers are to some of, the families that we serve? What are they kind of struggling with?
Well, as you know, here in the U.S., there's a lot of things going on with the housing market, but imagine that impacting our families as well, trying to find housing, a rent that's affordable.
That's right.
Groceries that are affordable. If they use any of the benefits, there's only so much you can do for your family with those benefits. And so a lot of those barriers are, those basic needs that our families are really needing right now. And that's something that we as YPN, I am so proud about. We love to connect our families with resources and try to, we can't eliminate those barriers, but if we can help and make an impact in any way in those barriers, that's what we do.
That's right. I love that so much. Speaking of, probably the most important question is, what is your why?
Well, I would say, why wouldn't I choose YPN? And that's because from the first day that I walked into YPN, the staff were so compassionate, genuine, welcoming. I can't imagine working in an organization that wasn't like that. Even after I finish my master's and have to move on from YPN, I don't know if any place will meet the same expectations that I would have. Because YPN has made such an impact on me. It's that safe place for me, but also the team here is incredible. And we don't do this because we want to make money. We do it because of the richness of what we do. And so why YPN is because I can make an impact and I have a team that also wants to make an impact.
That is so powerful, Chelsey, and I love that. And as you just mentioned, unfortunately, we will be losing Chelsey because she's getting her master's in mental health therapy, which we know there's a huge need, and she will continue to impact the lives of many people like she already has as well, too. And I know we'll keep you connected, so don't worry about that. Okay. A few other, maybe one more question, a little bit of a fun one, okay? So just kind of think about this one. But if you weren't in your role, what other work would you see yourself doing and why?
Well, I think this is funny because I think that you mentioned this in a previous podcast that you wanted to be in the Secret Service.
I did.
And
you want to be partners?
No.
Oh.
Well, we may have to partner in some ways, but
okay.
I once saw this role for an FBI position where you could be a victim specialist.
Ooh.
So somewhat of that counseling and therapy role for somebody who is a victim of a crime.
Wow.
I think that would be an incredible experience, but so impactful. And they have jobs open out there somewhere. I'm sure that I could do it if I really wanted to, right?
Of course you could.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'd both be feds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, imagine that.
With badges, too. That'd be fun, huh? Well, Chelsey, thanks so very much, not only for being here, but for what you do on a daily basis at YPN. I know I have become a better person because of you in many respects as well, and I know YPN is a better organization because of you as well, too. So thanks for joining us today on this podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you for listening to My Why, a YPN podcast. We can't make our impact without your support. Please consider donating to YPN. Your gift will make a difference. Visit www.ypniowa.org/give to donate today.